Call this meeting to order. Chair recognizes Attorney Brown.
Good morning, Mayor and Commissioners.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you, sir. We request a motion to enter into an executive session for the discussion of pending or potential litigation, personnel, and real estate.
Second.
Commissioner from the 6th with a second from the Mayor Pro Tem. Voting.
That motion carries with Mr. Johnson voting yes, Mr. Dennis Williams, Ms. Catherine McKnight, Mr. Bobby Williams, Mr. Ben Hassan, Mr. Brendan Garrett, Mr. John Clark. Absent, Commissioner Mason, Franham, and Scott.
Okay, we're going to reconvene. Chair recognizes Attorney Brown.
Mayor, Commissioners will request a motion to go in, execute the closed meeting affidavit.
So moved.
All right, Commissioner from the 3rd with the 2nd from the 6th. Voting.
Mr. Carey, okay. Mr. Clark. That motion carries with Mr. Franham absent today, as well as Commissioner Mason.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Chair recognizes the attorney for the reading of a motion.
Mayor, Commissioners will request a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the settlement of all claims by Melvin Turner in the aggregate sum of $15,000 payable as follows: to John P. Batson, attorney. Further, authorizing the administrator to disperse the amount of $15,000, waiving Augusta, Georgia Code of Ordinances, sections in conflict for this instance only and for other purposes.
Chair recognizes Commissioner from 3rd.
I make a motion, well, so moved.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
I've got a motion and a second. Voting.
It's unanimous.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Madam Clerk, we've got a series of items that are on the special call meeting agenda. Draw everyone's attention to item number 3. In addition to that, we have some addendum agenda items that were provided to you, items 1 and 2 on the additions to the agenda. If there be no objection, we'll add them to the special call meeting agenda. All right, it's right there. All right, without objection. Without objection. Okay, Madam Clerk, our posture, we've got these 2 addendum items and item number 3. All right, I'm gonna, Madam Clerk.
Item number 3 is a motion to discuss providing for security equipment for the Richmond County Sheriff's Office.
Chair recognizes Attorney Brown.
Yes, Mayor Davis and Commission, after properly duly noticed to the public, and as this is a public hearing, we'll request a motion to rescind the previous approval of adding $62,500 to the sheriff budget, to rescind that motion, and to simultaneously, subsequently approve the motion herein to approve a $62,500 addition to the sheriff budget for security equipment.
Paid from contingency.
From contingency.
All right, Commissioner from the 6th.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. All right, Commissioner from the 10th, seconds at. Voting.
Mr. Mayor, just for clarification, that was the general fund contingency fund.
That is correct.
Yes, thank you.
That motion is unanimous.
Madam Clerk, regarding the addendum item,
Okay.
if you'll read the caption just for that.
Addendum item is to provide clarification and direction to the Director of Engineering regarding an item to refer the Environmental Services Operations Improvement Plan to the Administrator and the Human Resources Director for review, to be brought back to the full commission, which was on the June 7th, 2022 meeting.
Chair recognizes the Commissioner from the 6th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the Environmental Service Operation Improvement Plan as presented.
Second.
Voting.
Mr. Dennis Williams. Okay, thank you. It's unanimous.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, I believe that's all the business before us.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Committee meetings.
All right, wrong button. We want to go ahead and call public services to order.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Bonner, are there any additions or deletions from the agenda?
No, sir.
Okay. Would that
Well,
be,
we do have one clarification, just for the record. Ms. Walton, what agenda item was that we needed to? Number 7? We'll just do it for the record. While we do not have a quorum, Mr. Chair, item number 7, so that it could be referred to the full commission, should read liquor, beer and wine license. Liquor, beer and wine license, item number 7.
all right. And because we don't have a quorum to conduct business in this meeting, we're going to move these items, all items that require a vote, to full commission next Tuesday. But we will hear item number 16, presentation by Mr. Bartley.
Okay.
So item number 16.
Item number 16, a presentation by Mr. Darius Dante Bartley regarding bus transit service in Augusta, Georgia. Mr. Bartley.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. My name is Darius Dante Bartley. I live at 2226 Acapulco Drive in Augusta, Georgia. We do have some concerns about the bus transportation here in Augusta, Georgia.
Mr. Bartley, before you continue, for the record, you have 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay?
The buses is always running late, and we need to look at how we can get the buses to run on time, because most of the buses is always breaking down, and we need to try to find a solution to get to work on time, because most people use the bus transportation to get to and from work. A lot of times the buses is broken down on the roads. They don't have enough staff, and we just want to know how we can get better bus service in Augusta, Richmond County.
All right. Does that conclude your presentation?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We have a question in the queue. Commissioner Clark.
Yes, sir, Mr. Vice Chairman. I think we have the Director of Transit in the room. If she would care to address this situation, I think this would be appropriate.
Ms. Daughtery.
Welcome and thank you, Director Dowry.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. Mr. Bartley, I do apologize, sir, that you are having to deal with this and everyone else that is having to deal with this situation. I understand about our buses running behind on time. There are situations that do happen that make our buses late. So I apologize for that, but a lot of times when they call in, they're saying that they're stuck behind the trains and they can't move. The other day we had one that was stuck for almost an hour behind a train and could not move in the location that the bus was in. I don't know if that was the bus that you were trying to catch at the time, but I do apologize for that. What I will offer to you, Mr. Bartley, on that note, if you would contact our office and let us know that you're having a situation, then we will try to make arrangements to help you.
Okay.
We will definitely do that. We always try to help any way that we can.
Okay.
Okay?
And also, I wanted to ask this question too.
Yes, sir.
So far, we only have one Kmart running.
Yes, sir.
And why is that?
Because, sir, we're dealing with a older fleet of buses. And so because we have an older fleet, they do break down because we're having trouble getting parts. The manufacturers for the buses that we currently have has gone out of business, both companies. So we have to search to find parts. And one of our companies that we were utilizing has left Augusta, and now we have to send the bus all the way to Atlanta to be repaired. So we are facing some challenges in trying to keep the service going, but we are working diligently to keep going what we have. Meanwhile, one of the items that you will not hear today, but is on the agenda to order, 6 new vehicles. So we are working towards trying to make our service better. And as we get those vehicles in, we will approve upon that, and we will be able to put that bus back on that route, so you will have the second bus.
Thank you, Ms. Daughtery. Commissioner Clark? Does that conclude? Okay, Mayor
Mr.
Davis?
Thank you, sir. Mr. Bartley, I just want to take a moment. I appreciate you coming and sharing your concerns as it relates to transit. I also want to take an opportunity to acknowledge the successes of our transit. I want to start with, for you and all of our residents who take occasion to ride Augusta's public transit, there's an app that has been developed by our team that will provide you with logistics information, i.e. at the bus stops. It will let you know when the next bus is supposed to show up. And I would encourage you to download that app. That app will provide you with not only information generally in real time of when the next bus is supposed to show up. For all of our residents who take occasion to ride Augusta's public transit, it is not a perfect system. I'm not aware of any perfect transit systems in the entire state of Georgia, let alone the country. Ms. Daughtery said it, that our fleet is 9.5. In fact, it's older than most systems in the state of Georgia. But what I can say is that this commission has made a decision to make investments in transit that are unprecedented. And this upcoming T-SPLOS to the tune of $30 million having been allocated, which should get you and the rest of our residents more buses on the ground, which also should provide us with an opportunity to be more efficient in terms of how we run. So I'm going to ask you for not only patience, but I'm going to ask you for partnership, starting with downloading that app. And as Ms. Daughtery indicated, at any point in time that you need assistance, call transit. We can get someone out there, whether it's one of our rideshare buses that we can send out to get you, make sure we get you to that place. But as a growing city, these are challenges that we have. Again, this commission has made unprecedented investments. We're going to our low to zero emissions fleet moving forward. And we ask for your partnership. Again, patience, partnership, but all of those things are going to be important as we move forward with the oldest fleet in the state of Georgia. And so that's important for us to talk about as we move forward in this city. Thank you for coming and sharing your concerns.
And then also I have one more. When we look at transportation, the buses do not go out to South Augusta. So therefore, a lot of people that work out in Hellsville area, they cannot get to work because transportation buses do not run out there. They have to take a Lyft or Uber or a cab or something like that. And really, we need to look at how we can improve that as far as going and coming.
Okay, so let me talk about that. As a South Augusta boy, our buses do go to South Augusta. They do. And let's qualify that. They may not go as far into Hepzibah as we would like, particularly the Augusta Industrial Park, which is where Starbucks is located, which is where a number of other folks, yes, the Augusta Corporate Park. Thank you for that, Commissioner from the 8th. But they do go to South Augusta. Lumpkin Road is South Augusta. Apple Valley is South Augusta. Bilo, now KJ's, is South Augusta. And so while they do go there, I'm going to qualify this statement with, we have an opportunity to expand, but with resources. Transit is one of those resources that people need that historically governments never fund and support. This commission, again, I keep saying that, has supported it now in an unprecedented way, and we're going to get better. But we need your support, your partnership, and time, because these new buses will not get here tomorrow. It's going to take time. And what you're asking for is for us to expand further into South Richmond County. There's been much conversations about being able to do that. In order for that to happen, you've got to have resources, but you've also got to have ridership. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Davis. Commissioner Clark.
Thank you, Vice Chairman. Mr. Mayor, did you mention that the Augusta public transit fleet is going green?
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes, sir.
I did.
Okay.
Not only going green, but I talked about that in Reno last year for everyone who was wondering where I was at, and the climate mayor's conversation that we're leading in that for other cities of similar size. Augusta's out front. Thank you.
I wanted everyone to know that.
All right, thank you both. Well, with that being said, again, those who came for alcohol petitions, again, please remain. You can leave the chambers if you wish, but just come back next Tuesday for your item to be heard before the full commission. Okay, so that's next Tuesday. And with that being said, public services next Tuesday at 2 o'clock. Thank you, Commissioner. And that concludes public services.
Madam Clerk, can we go ahead?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to call the Finance Committee to order. If my colleagues agree and there's no question, I would like to consent item number 1 and item number 2 on our agenda.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. And a second. Please cast your vote.
That motion carries with Mr. Mason absent from today's meeting.
Thank you very much for your service. Finance Committee is closed.
Call public safety to meeting, please. Ms. Bonner, is there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. And without objection, add this to the agenda, please.
We're going to consider the new one.
Once again, without objection,
No, sir.
They haven't got me yet. All of your committee members, have you gotten yours?
are we set?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Bonner,
Yes, sir.
go ahead. I'll wait for the sheriff. I'm gonna object to this.
Once again, without objection, I move to add the
Sir,
addendum to the agenda.
you had an objection, sir, Mr. Bobby Williams.
Mr. Williams?
I object to it, sir.
Chairman.
Mr. Garrett?
Ms. Bonner, could we go ahead and add this to next week's full agenda
Okay.
as an item? Thank you.
Thank you. Now, without objection, I'd like to consent item 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, and 9. We have a motion and a second. Vote, please.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
could you repeat those numbers once more?
1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, and 9.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, sir.
That vote carries. It's unanimous.
Thank you. We will go to item number 5, please.
Item 5 is a motion to approve the amendment of the Animal Control Ordinance to eliminate the registration requirements and associated fees, repealing conflicting ordinances, and for other purposes.
Thank you. We have Director Hill here to explain a little bit about this. Director Hill, please.
Yes, good afternoon, Commission. Good afternoon, Mayor Davis. So this agenda item is basically to complete a process that was started on March 19th, 2019. On that particular date, the Commission, by unanimous vote and by waiving the second reading, amended the Animal Control Ordinance to eliminate the pet registration requirement and all of its associated fees. However, at that time, the written amendments were never submitted with the agenda item. So that's what this does is submit the amendments in ordinance forms for that agenda item. Doesn't change anything else.
Okay, do I hear a motion to submit these?
I have questions, Chairman.
Mr. Garrett?
I think Dennis Williams is before me.
No.
Okay. This question is for the director, if you don't mind.
No, proceed, please.
Mr. Hill, can you just kind of give us an update on, what are some of these conflicting ordinances and things that we're looking at? I mean, you hear a lot of the same complaints out of my area that I'm sure a lot of the areas are dealing with. So do you think that moving this way to go ahead and eliminate these types of requirements, do you think that we need to take further action to help address some of the other ongoing issues with the strays and things like that?
I think that's definitely something to look toward in the future, and it's something that I'm already contemplating on doing. This is actually just to complete a process that was already approved before my tenure.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, we had a motion and a second to approve.
No, sir, I'm
I'll
waiting on
second
one.
that.
Okay, that's Mr. Garrett, and we did have one. You want, no, Mr. Garrett, will you second it, Commissioner Williams? Thank you. Okay, that's Mr. Garrett and Mr. Bobby Williams.
Vote, please.
Mr. Attorney, the General Counsel, Mr. Chairman, is asking for a minute.
Oh, okay.
I was just trying to get clarity about the second reading. When you made this approval before, however, the ordinance was not present before you, so the presentment requirement wasn't met, and this is to fulfill that. In the first approval done in the past, you waived the second reading. I'm just trying to get clear for the record, does this motion include a request to waive second reading, or does it not?
Request to waive second reading.
I object.
I understand.
It's public safety to move forward, and he can do that at the meeting. Does it have concurrence from the Public Safety Committee to waive the second reading?
Yeah, I follow the chairman.
Oh, you're objecting, okay.
No, he-
Oh, the chairman,
He wants to waive
okay.
the second meeting.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
So I'll go along with that.
Okay, so we have concurrence to waive the second reading.
Yes, ma'am.
That will be the recommendation to the commission at our meeting next week on June 21st.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are we voting, Mr. Chair?
Yes, voting.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I need you to tell the mayor to leave me alone.
All right, I'll take care of that. I put the memo out to him today. We have to put those things in writing. Who we waiting on that? Mr. Garrett?
I think what she was saying is my memory is real long.
It's unanimous.
With no other business before public safety is adjourned. Thank you all.
We're ready, sir.
Use your microphone, please.
Thank you, thank you. The administrative service is in session, Ms. Bonner.
Yes, sir.
Are there any additions or deletions?
No, sir.
Ms. Bonner, if there are not any objections, I'd like to consent item number 1 and 2.
Okay.
No objections. Voting, Ms. Bonner.
Okay, voting, sir. Can you? Yeah.
Yeah, I hit it twice, Ms. Bonner.
Okay. It's unanimous with Mr. Sean Franham absent from today's meeting.
Item number 3, Ms. Bonner.
Item number 3 is a motion to rescind the Mini Theater's 365-day extension approved by the Commission on February 15, 2022, and replace with a contract end date of October 31, 2025, and approval to allocate an additional $500,000 from SPLOST 6. Also to approve the project agreement and authorize the mayor to execute the agreement.
Thank you, ma'am, Ms. Bonner. Ms. Bonner, Mr. Attorney, to the commissioner, to my colleagues here, I'd like to make a motion to approve this, but I have a caveat here. It's for Mr. Butler to get with the finance department to show sufficient proof that he has gotten his matching funds for the $500,000. And with that, I'd like to get a motion with that. All the other things, the extension, fine. The contract date, I'm fine with that. But just to meet with the finance department to show approval of that he's met his threshold. Mr. Attorney, there's a question you want to add to some information?
So moved.
Mr. Chairman,
Second. I'm sorry, go ahead, Dennis.
Ms. Scott, or just, okay.
Got a motion and a second. Go ahead, Commissioner Dennis Williams.
I will yield to the administrator.
Thank you, sir. I wanted to point out Exhibit B does require the organization to provide evidence of their matching funds, so that should be sufficient for your request, Commissioner, is it not?
Yes, that's what I was asking.
Okay.
Yeah. Commissioner, you know this is my
Mr.
committee,
Chairman.
right?
Say again?
Go ahead.
The Mini Theater, our finance department, have all met and have been provided with all the documentation and proof that they're able, or they have met the
Matching funds.
matching fund total. So it went before finance and all of that, administrator's office. I'm not explaining it well because I'm getting a little, but it's been through the proper channels to be approved, and all we have to do is simply approve it today. Oh, let me say one more thing. And this 365-day extension, that was put on that prior to us meeting the matching funds. And that's why we're taking that date away, because the funds have been matched and proven. Is there any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Bobby Williams? Ms. Bobby, you have a question?
No, we good.
We
good.
voted, we have a motion and a second, right, Ms. Bonner?
Brandon did.
Okay, let me ask you this, Commissioner. With the information that Commissioner Dennis Williams just provided to you, will your motion remain the same with the
Yes.
requirement for finance verification?
Yes, I mean, because
Okay, all right.
yes.
Thank you. Okay. Yes, sir. So you ready to vote?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
would that verification, could that verification be satisfied with the communication from the administrator? Or
Yes,
is it-
that's fine.
So it doesn't have to come back to the floor?
No, I've never intended for it to come back to the floor. My thing was just between now and Tuesday, if it's already done, it just sends something, say it's been done, and we gone. It don't have to be another meeting to prolong, to drag it out. That's not my intent.
Yes, sir, I just.
Even what my colleague just said, if that's in place, that's in place. We approve everything Tuesday.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes. If,
It's unanimous. Mr. Chair, that's,
yes, ma'am. It is adjourned, Ms. Bond, Administrative Service.
thank you.
Yeah, engineering next.
Ms. Bonner, we
Yes,
ready to
sir.
start engineering?
Yes, sir.
Now that Mayor Pro Tem's not bothering me?
Would you like a memo as well?
Sure. Can I get on your letterhead?
It looks like I'm getting a list
Absolutely.
here.
Ms. Bonner, do we have any additions or deletions?
No, sir. No requests.
All right. If the committee does not object, I'd like to consent items 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7.
You said 1, 2, what else, Mr. Chairman?
3, 4, 6, and 7.
3, 4, 6, and 7. Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Voting, Ms. Bonner?
Okay, that was Mr. Johnson and Mr. Hassan?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We're voting, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
It's unanimous.
All right. We'll start with item 5.
Item number 5 is a motion to request authorization to proceed with drafting edits to the Augusta, Georgia Code 3-51 and 35-86 to modify requirements for personal transportation vehicles.
Okay. I think John Ushery, our traffic engineer, is here to speak towards this item and help us understand it a little more. So, Mr. Ushery, floor is yours.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. This request came to me from a business that would like to start up in downtown Augusta. It's called Pedal Pub of Augusta. From what I understand, this is a nationwide company, and they operate in several other large cities throughout the United States, including Minneapolis, Minnesota, Nashville, Tennessee, and San Diego, California. The vehicle that this business would like to utilize in downtown Augusta doesn't currently meet our requirements in the PTV ordinance. And so they've asked us to revise the ordinance to allow this vehicle to be used. So this particular agenda item, I haven't drafted any changes to the ordinance. This particular agenda item is just to ask for the Commission's approval for me to start drafting a revised ordinance. In particular, there are two things that their vehicle does not, in our current ordinance, it doesn't meet. One is the weight of the vehicle. Our current ordinance only allows a maximum weight of 1,375 pounds. Their vehicle is about 2,500 pounds, so it's a little heavier. And the other one is our PTV ordinance says that you can only have 8 people on the vehicle, and their vehicle holds, I believe it's 12 or 14. So it's more than the number allowed in our current ordinance. So this agenda item is just to ask for your permission to draft revisions to this ordinance and then bring them back to this body for review. We're also working with the Planning and Development Department. They actually got the initial request, and then we would work with the Law Department to make sure everything is good there.
Do you think this would be a good time to also maybe take a look at the way that the PTV ordinance applies to neighborhoods around the county, in regards to golf carts and small vehicles, as we're going through these changes, I think might as well take care of some other issues as well.
When the CVB, Convention and Visitors Bureau, or Augusta and Company as they're called now, they also, when they found out that this was on the agenda, they called me this morning to see if there was some modifications that they may want to make to this ordinance. And yes, we could look at different neighborhoods and add them to this. The only area that a PTV is currently allowed in per this ordinance is an area downtown, and then a couple of other older Augusta neighborhoods that were grandfathered in. But our current ordinance does allow for the addition, there's a process to add new areas. I've got I think 2 or 3 requests over the last couple years, but they've always asked for streets that are major streets, not neighborhood streets, so they've been denied based on the speed limit and the volume of traffic. But yes, if there's residential areas that you would like to add to this, we could also do that as well.
Well, I'm just talking about a broader conversation. I know I get asked a lot of times, as we're dealing with the ATVs and dirt bikes and those types of vehicles on the roads, I get asked a lot of times, what's the difference between a side-by-side and a golf cart? And so, I try to explain the best that I can, but, I'm just thinking as we're going through this process that actually deals with those specific types of vehicles, it may be an opportunity to be much more specific in this ordinance. That way we do have a better way to address these issues.
Yes, that is something if we are going to modify this, if that is allowed, then we can deal with all of that at one time.
How would you suggest we word that?
Well, if you approve this agenda item next week, all you're giving me is permission to start the process of drafting the revised ordinance.
Okay.
But then I can contact the individual departments or the commissioners, and you can suggest language to put in it.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to at least start this process?
I got it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Commissioner.
I can make the motion, though. I can make the motion to start the process, but I still have a question.
All right, Commissioner
Second
Hassan, with your question.
Yes, sir. My initial questions, he answered that because I wanted to make sure that planning was involved and that the law department was involved in looking at this. Also, so that I like the collectedness of that because I was going to be suggesting that. However, I think about a couple of years ago, we approved some sort of vehicle for downtown, and that's okay. I know we did. Okay, my real goal at this point is for the law department and planning and zoning to be involved in this conversation.
And then the sheriff's department will also be involved because they were involved in the original conversation.
Okay, all right then. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Clark.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just for clarification, Pedal Pub, is this the vehicle that serves alcohol and you pedal around and carry on like a fool?
You are correct, but the alcohol portion is not in my area.
But that's what they would be doing.
Well, they would have to work with, our current PTV ordinance also does not allow alcohol on these types of vehicles. So that is something that they would have to work with the planning department in particular, because the planning department is the one who licenses this stuff. So the planning department is aware of that request, and I'm not sure how they're working through their system.
Okay.
But I'm just dealing with the traffic.
I just wanted clarification, that's all.
But yes, you are correct.
Thank you.
Mayor.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I just wanted to suggest that compliance be included in this, particularly from an ADA standpoint. We oftentimes leave them out. Thank you.
Yes, sir. With a motion and a second, we can vote, Ms. Bonner.
Okay. Ms. McKnight. Voting. You got it. Okay. Thank you. It's unanimous.
Thank you, Ms. Bonner. Next item. And hopefully the last one.
Yes, sir. Item number 8. Receive update on Quick Strike Cleanup Program. Also, please provide timing of implementation as well as scope of what is covered under the program.
All right. This is my item, and I put this on the agenda just because this was something that was passed last year as part of this current year's budget being funded through the ARP funds. But really, we've not seen much action out of this or any updates. So hopefully, I'm not sure who's going to speak towards this. Administrator, if you want to help us out on this.
Sure, thank you, Commissioner. So the Administrator's Office, along with several staffers, have met several times concerning the Quick Strike program to include partnerships with Augusta Tomorrow and DDA. A full plan to include the timelines that you are requesting and the scope of services covered under this program will be presented to the full commission during the commission meeting on Thursday, June 30th.
So there's not really much of an update, except that we're going to wait until the 2 more weeks to discuss this. Can you remind the commission how much was allocated towards this program?
Sure. $500,000 was allocated to the DDA, and then $2.5 million was allocated for the Quick Strike program for Augusta.
Does the DDA already have their $500,000?
$250,000 was for fiscal year '22, and then the remaining $250,000 was for fiscal year '23. And I do believe they have received some funding by way of kiosks that they are looking to purchase.
And how was the 2.5 allocated? Was it all this year?
Yes. Give me one moment to clarify that, to confirm that, excuse me. Yes, it was all for this year.
Is that the engineer's budget? Mr. Chairman, can I ask the administrator a question in the meantime?
Please do.
Yes, thank you, sir. When you said it's been allocated, was that in the engineer's budget? Whose budget?
It was not allocated in engineering's budget. From my understanding, it was a program that the former administrator presented to you all, so those funds have not been dispersed to anyone's budget to carry out the services proposed.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I thought we had talked. I thought it was a back and forth about that. I could be wrong. So, okay, but that was a part of a conversation too. It wasn't. It's not the same money.
No, my previous answer is correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
well, and that's part of the reason why I put this on the agenda was, the fact that we do have this 2.5 that really hasn't been allocated towards any department or any real work yet. And so, as we're looking at this, and even as the administrator is trying to find out how this, what the scope is going to look like, as well as, whether this program is really the correct way to move forward with the maintenance issues that's, plaguing our community. I'd like to offer it to my committee members to at least consider maybe this is a time where we pull this money back out of this. And, we've had discussions revolving around, Parks and Rec, some of their shortfalls and some of their projects. This would be an excellent point to, use this 2.5 that had been allocated towards this quick strike to fix the Riverwalk problems, possibly continue funding the ACE program through the DDA for, multiple years instead of just next year. These are just things that I think that we need to take a closer look at, and if that's not the way that you want to go, maybe we need to provide the scope that we want to see out of this program. The previous administrator, as he was discussing it, it was pretty far-ranging and broad. So, I'm going to open the floor for any discussion. I think
I'm back in the queue.
I think Bobby Williams is before you.
Yeah, I was back in the queue first. Yeah, I agree with you. There are some places that I think we can use this money. I didn't realize it was $2.5 million. That's a lot of money that we can pull back and use in other places. Recreation, and we have, I don't know, maybe we want to put the barbecue pit back on the agenda some kind of way, shape, form, or fashion.
Boathouse.
I'm not exactly sure, but $2.5 million can be pulled back to help us here in Augusta, Georgia. So I agree that maybe somebody should make a motion to pull this $2.5 million back. I'm not sure if we want to make a decision today where we want to use it. So, but I think we need to pull it back from this quick strike team.
All right, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Commissioner Hassan? you're
Yeah,
next.
thank you, sir. Mr. Chairman, out of respect for the administrator and her team, let's at least see what they have to say. But now I do think she has a sense. I think she should be sensitive that there are other concerns and that she don't have to necessarily allocate all of this $2.5 million to what she needs to do downtown, unless into some of those other projects that was just mentioned. So I think it would be just out of common courtesy to at least allow her to bring back and present something, but also take into consideration what she just heard.
All right. And that was.
I think she said the end of this, what you said, June the 30th, June 28th.
June 30th meeting.
June 30th meeting.
All right, Commissioner McKnight?
Oh, I was going to say, thank you for acknowledging me. Yeah, I agree that the 2.5 million is something that we need to come back after we discuss how we can use it towards other projects. I agree with my colleague from the 5th District, Mayor Pro Tem, to discuss this and come back later with the decision of where to put this money towards.
All right, thank you. You again?
One more time.
Mayor Pro Tem?
But I think we should at least put a freeze on it today.
I think the
Not-
administrator's hearing that.
And not let it be allocated anywhere until we make a decision as to what we want to do with it.
On the 30th, I think. And I think the administrator and the staff are hearing that.
Right.
All right.
So receive
Commissioner
that, make a
Johnson.
motion, receive that information.
And to just give you all
I
a
was about to do that,
FYI, Mr. Chair, the 30th meeting will be a commission meeting,
Correct.
so that,
June.
June. Yes, sir, it will be a commission meeting, and you can make formal decisions there.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I think,
Mr. Chairman, because Dr. Hassan beat me to making the motion, I'm going to second his motion.
Thank you. Checking the mail.
don't encourage him.
Checking the mail.
All right. If there's no, Commissioner McKnight, do you have other comments?
No.
All right. If there's no further discussion, we will receive this as information.
With no objections, sir?
No objections.
Okay, we're good.
And if there is no further business, engineering services is called to a close.
Well, you can just give me that 1.6 out of that 2.5.